Carol Bennett had driven for 15 long hours, her eyes burning and her hands aching on the steering wheel, all so she could be at the hospital when her first grandson entered the world. But the moment she stepped through the hospital doors, her son, Adam, blocked her path. His face was pale and tense, nothing like the excited father she expected to see. "Mom, what are you doing here?" he whispered. Carol blinked, stunned. "What do you mean?" "Came for the baby. Emily called me. She said you both wanted me here." But Adam swallowed hard and said something that shattered her heart. "Mom, Emily said she doesn't want you around today," Adam muttered, avoiding her eyes. Carol stared at him, hurt carving through her chest. "What? She invited me. She called me Mom Carol, for the first time. She asked me to be here." Adam rubbed the back of his neck, looking like a man trapped in a corner. "She changed her mind. She wants the birth to be just us." Carol felt her throat tighten. "I drove 15 hours, Adam. 15. But he only sighed. "Please, Mom. Just go back to your hotel. I'll call you when it's over." And just like that, she walked away feeling pushed out of her own family. Carol spent the night in her hotel room staring at the ceiling, checking her phone every 10 minutes. When morning arrived, Adam finally called, his voice full of joy. "He's here, Mom. His name is Noah. 7 pounds 2 ounces. Carol smiled weakly. "When can I meet him, sweetheart?" A long pause followed. "Mom, Emily is tired. Maybe a day or two." Carol closed her eyes. "Adam, I drove all this way. I just want to see my grandson." But he only repeated, "Give us time, Mom." She hung up and sat on the bed, realizing she was begging for a moment she should have been part of. 2 more days passed without a single picture, call, or invitation. Carol's heart ached so badly she couldn't eat. On Friday, she drove to the hospital determined to at least glance at her grandson through a window. But the nurse at the desk said, "They've already been discharged, ma'am." Shock rolled through her. She dialed Adam immediately. "You took the baby home without telling me?" Adam sighed. "Mom, Emily wanted her space. She's nervous about visitors and germs." Carol whispered, "I'm not a visitor. I'm family." Adam didn't answer that. Instead he said, "Maybe next month." It was in that moment that something inside Carol hardened. She packed her bags, grabbed her keys, and drove back to Phoenix in silence. If Adam and Emily wanted to shut her out, fine. But she wouldn't be the one paying for their behavior. On Sunday her phone rang. "This is Valley Medical Billing. Is this Carol Bennett?" the voice asked. "Yes," the woman continued. "We're calling regarding the $2,300 delivery bill for Emily Bennett. You're listed as the financial guarantor. How would you like to pay?" Carol froze, then slowly smiled. "Ma'am," she said calmly, "I think you've called the wrong woman." The billing agent sounded confused. "Ma'am, the forms were signed electronically in your name. You agreed to cover the cost as the maternal grandmother." Carol frowned. "Maternal? I'm the father's mother. And I never signed anything." The agent flipped through her documents. "It shows your full name, address, and even your social security number." Carol felt her stomach twist. "When were these forms signed?" "November 18th at 11:47 p.m., the agent replied. Carol closed her eyes. She knew exactly where she was at that moment, driving through a Utah snowstorm with no cell service. Someone had stolen her identity. And she already knew who. "I'd like copies of those forms. Email them to me immediately," Carol said, her voice firm. 20 minutes later, she stared at her laptop as fury spread through her body. Emily had forged everything. Her name, her signature, even the reason Carol supposedly volunteered to pay. But the worst part wasn't the forged handwriting. It was the lie written beside it. Carol Bennett joyfully accepts full financial responsibility as a gift for her grandson. Carol whispered, "Joyfully? You didn't even let me see him." Her hands shook as she dialed the hospital. "I need the legal department. I'm reporting fraud." The legal representative listened carefully as Carol explained every detail. The 15-hour drive, the invitation, the rejection at the hospital door, and the forged documents. "Ma'am," the representative said, "this is identity theft. We're escalating this immediately." While on hold, Carol gathered all her proof. Emily's text messages inviting her, screenshots of calls, photos she'd taken during her drive with timestamps, and hotel receipts showing she was nowhere near Denver when the form was signed. When the legal department returned, they said, "All charges under your name are now suspended. We will be filing a police report today." Carol exhaled slowly. Justice had begun. Carol's phone buzzed soon after. Adam texting cheerfully as if nothing had happened. "Mom, hope you made it home safely. Emily and Noah are doing great. We'll send pictures soon." Carol stared at the message, her jaw tightening. Pictures. After excluding her and forging her name on financial documents, they were offering pictures. She typed back calmly, "Glad everyone is healthy. Looking forward to meeting Noah soon." She didn't mention the fraud case, the suspended charges, or the pending investigation. Sometimes she thought the loudest revenge is saying nothing, letting people walk straight into the consequences they created. On Tuesday morning, the call she expected arrived. "Mrs. Bennett, this is Detective Harris with the Denver Police Department. I'm assigned to the fraud case you reported." Carol sat up straighter. "Ask anything you need." For 45 minutes she walked him through everything. Emily's warm invitation, the sudden rejection at the hospital, the mysterious bill, and the forged documents. "Do you have evidence to support your timeline?" he asked. "I do. Texts, photos, timestamps, call logs, everything." The detective paused. "Mrs. Bennett, this looks premeditated. Not an accident." Carol closed her eyes. "I know," she whispered. "Emily planned all of it." Detective Harris spoke in a calm, steady voice. "Mrs. Bennett, we'll need every screenshot, photo, and document you mentioned. Fraud involving hospital forms is serious, and forging a family member's signature with financial information is a felony." Carol nodded even though he couldn't see her. "Detective, I've already organized everything in folders." He sounded impressed. "Good. The investigators will also subpoena hospital security footage. If the signature was forged in the building, we'll find out." Carol felt a strange mix of pain and relief. Emily hadn't just excluded her, she had set her up. And now the truth would surface. Later that afternoon, the doorbell rang. A woman in her 30s stood on Carol's porch with a badge clipped to her belt. "Mrs. Bennett. I'm investigator Sarah Cole from Denver General's Fraud Department." Carol invited her inside. Sarah handed her a manila envelope. "These are stills from the hospital's security cameras. You should see them." Inside the photographs, time-stamped clearly, was Emily herself, sitting at a computer in the family lounge, typing rapidly into the hospital's patient portal at the exact minute Carol was deep in the Utah mountains. Carol stared in disbelief. "She really used my name, while pretending to welcome me." "The evidence is overwhelming," Investigator Cole said. "This case will move into a full fraud investigation. It may also involve federal authorities because your information crossed state lines." Carol sat back, letting the weight of it settle. Emily hadn't made a simple mistake. She had executed a carefully planned scheme. "So what happens now?" Carol asked quietly. "The police will move forward. The hospital will pursue charges. And the fraud team will confiscate any related digital evidence." Sarah stood. "Mrs. Bennett, I know this is painful, but reporting this was the right thing." Carol nodded slowly. For the first time in days she felt strong. Just as Sarah Cole drove away, Carol's phone rang again. "Adam." His voice shook with panic. "Mom, what did you do?" "The police came to the house this morning." Carol took a deep breath. "Hello to you too, Adam." He sounded desperate. "They arrested Emily. They said something about fraud. Mom, tell me this is a mistake." Carol stepped onto her porch, watching the fading orange sky. "I didn't press charges. I reported identity theft when the hospital called asking how I plan to pay your wife's delivery bill. There was a long silence, then Adam whispered, "What delivery bill?" "The bill Emily stuck me with," Carol said calmly. $2,300 for her delivery. She forged my name. Adam sounded stunned. "That can't be right. Our insurance covered everything." Carol sighed. "Your insurance was denied. That's why the hospital called me. Emily listed me as the financial guarantor." Adam's voice broke. "Mom. No. There has to be an explanation." Carol's tone sharpened. "Emily excluded me from the birth, avoided my calls, and forged my signature. Tell me, Adam, does that sound like a misunderstanding?" Silence followed. Then very softly Adam said, I don't know what to say." Carol could hear muffled arguing in the background, Emily's voice sharp and frantic. Adam covered the phone, but Carol still caught pieces of their fight. When he returned, his voice was tight. "Emily says she only put your name as emergency contact, not for payments." Carol shook her head even though he couldn't see her. "Adam, I worked in medical billing for 35 years. I know the difference. She signed a financial responsibility agreement using my information." Adam sounded overwhelmed. "Mom, this can't be real. She wouldn't do that." Carol replied gently but firmly. "Son, she already did." By evening, Detective Harris called again. "Mrs. Bennett, the case is expanding. We've discovered similar financial discrepancies involving other family members." Carol frowned. "What do you mean?" He lowered his voice. "It appears Emily may have committed smaller acts of identity misuse before. We're investigating whether this was part of a pattern." Carol rubbed her temples. "Detective, Emily planned this. I knew something felt wrong." "Yes," he replied. "And the evidence keeps supporting that." After the call ended, Carol sat alone at her kitchen table. She felt hurt, deeply hurt, but also strangely validated. She had trusted her instincts. And her instincts had been right. The next morning, Carol received an unexpected call from a young woman. "Hi, Mrs. Bennett. This is Lily. I'm Adam's sister." Carol softened. She loved Lily like her own. "Hello, dear." Lily hesitated. "I heard what's happening. Mom, are you okay?" Carol exhaled. "I will be." Lily's voice cracked. "Emily stole from me too. A few months ago, a credit card showed up in my name with charges I didn't make. Emily convinced me it was a bank mistake." Carol closed her eyes. "It wasn't a mistake, sweetheart," Lily whispered. "I feel so stupid." Carol replied gently. "You're not stupid. You trusted family." After their call, Carol sat quietly, thinking about every sign she had ignored. Emily's sudden sweetness on the phone. The too perfect invitation. The way she had insisted Carol rush across 2 states, only to shut her out at the last minute. Everything made sense now. Her phone buzzed again, this time a text from Adam. "Mom, please don't talk to the police anymore until we figure this out." Carol stared at the message, stunned. He was still protecting Emily. She typed back slowly. "I'm cooperating fully with investigators. The truth will come out." Adam didn't reply. It stung, but Carol stayed firm. That afternoon, Carol's doorbell rang again. When she looked through the peephole, her heart stopped. Adam stood there holding baby Noah. He looked exhausted, devastated, and unsure. When she opened the door, he whispered, "Mom, I didn't know where else to go." Carol gently reached out, touching Noah's soft cheek for the first time. "He's beautiful, Adam." Tears filled her son's eyes. "Mom, did she really do all this?" Carol stepped aside, letting him enter. "Sit down, sweetheart. We need to talk about everything. The truth, the investigation, and what comes next." Adam nodded, holding Noah close. For the first time, he was ready to listen. Adam sat on the couch holding Noah tightly, as if afraid the world might take him away. Carol watched him with a mother's heart, hurt, protective, but steady. Adam, she said softly, you need to tell me the truth. Did Emily plan to keep me away from the birth from the beginning? Adam swallowed hard. Yes, he whispered. She said it would stress her out if you came. She said you were too emotional. Carol felt the words stab deep. And you agreed. Adam lowered his head. I should have told you. I should have stopped her. I'm sorry, Mom. Carol sat beside him. Adam, she didn't just exclude me. She committed identity theft. She forged my name. That isn't hormones or stress. That's criminal intent. Adam rested his head in his hands. Mom, Emily said you'd never help us financially. She said you didn't want to be involved. Carol froze. What? Adam nodded, ashamed. She told me you didn't like her. That you didn't want to be close to our family. Carol stayed quiet for a moment. Son, she lied to you. She lied to both of us. Adam's voice cracked. I know. And now everything is falling apart. Before Carol could answer, Adam's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and groaned. It's Emily's mother again. Carol raised an eyebrow. Let it ring. But Adam answered. Hello. A sharp voice spilled through the speaker. Adam, how could your mother do this to Emily? She ruined her life. Carol listened silently as the woman raged. Your mother wanted to destroy us. Emily is innocent. Adam finally interrupted. Innocent. She forged documents, Mrs. Rivers. She stole my mom's identity. The line went quiet. Then the woman hissed. Your mother is tearing this family apart. Adam hung up and whispered. Mom, she blames you. Carol's voice was calm. People who defend wrongdoing always blame the person who tells the truth. Adam looked at her helplessly. What do I do now? Carol touched his arm gently. You protect your son. You cooperate with investigators. And you accept that Emily made her choices. Adam nodded weakly, bouncing Noah lightly as the baby fussed. Mom, feel stupid. I believed everything she said. Carol swallowed. You believed her because you loved her. But love doesn't survive on lies, Adam. It can't. He closed his eyes. I don't know who I'm married to anymore. Carol whispered. Neither do I. 2 days later, Carol and Adam met with Detective Harris at the precinct. The detective laid out several folders. We've gathered substantial evidence. And there's more. Adam stiffened. More. Harris nodded. We've discovered that Emily may have misused the personal information of at least 3 other relatives. Your sister Lily confirmed fraudulent charges. And your cousin Brian reported a loan he never applied for. Adam looked stunned. She stole from Brian too. Yes, the detective replied. Carol felt sick as Harris continued. This is becoming a pattern. It wasn't a moment of weakness. It was deliberate long-term fraud. As they left the station, Adam leaned against the car, shaking. Mom, I think she used me. Carol stepped closer. Sweetheart, she didn't just use you. She used your whole family. Adam covered his eyes. I defended her. Pushed you away. I shut you out. Carol exhaled softly. You were manipulated, Adam. Don't blame yourself. He looked at her with red, tired eyes. Mom, if she did all this, what else could she be hiding? Carol hesitated. That's exactly what investigators are trying to find out. Adam whispered. I feel like my whole life was a lie. That evening, after Adam put Noah down for a nap, he sat at Carol's dining table looking lost. Mom, what if Emily did this because she was scared we didn't have enough money? Carol stared at him. Adam, people don't commit felonies because they're afraid. They talk. They ask for help. They don't steal identities. Adam rubbed his forehead. But she said she was worried about expenses. Carol leaned forward. If she was worried, she could have spoken to you. Instead, she forged signatures in the middle of the night. Adam nodded slowly. You're right. I just didn't want to accept it. The next morning, as Carol fed Noah his bottle, Adam came in holding his phone. Mom. Detective Harris wants more information. He says the investigation is moving quickly. Carol rocked Noah gently. What does he need? Adam looked down at the message. He wants emails, bank statements, anything that might show unusual activity. He also wants to know if Emily ever asked for access to your personal information. Carol froze. Yes, she did. Adam looked up sharply. What? When? Months ago, Carol said softly. She told me she wanted to surprise you with a photo book and needed my birth date for the family page. Adam's face fell. Mom, I think she used your birth date as a security answer. Carol nodded slowly. I thought it was harmless at the time. Adam's voice trembled. She collected everyone's personal details. Birth dates, middle names, addresses. Carol whispered. She was building a file. Adam leaned back, horrified. She was preparing for this long before the baby was born. Carol tightened her hold on Noah. Sweetheart. This wasn't emotional panic. This was planned. Adam covered his mouth with his hand. Mom, what if she planned other things too? Carol felt her heart tighten. We'll find out. That afternoon, Detective Harris called again. Mrs. Bennett, there has been a development. Carol's stomach dropped. What kind of development? His tone turned grave. We've uncovered communications between Emily and another individual. We believe she was working with someone or being influenced by someone. Carol's breath caught. Working with who? We're still verifying, he said. But the messages suggest planning, secrecy, and financial coordination. Carol stared at the wall. Detective. Are you telling me this goes beyond the hospital bill? Yes, he replied quietly. Much further. Carol looked at baby Noah sleeping peacefully in her arms, unaware of the storm surrounding his young life. Carol waited anxiously for more information. Later that evening, Detective Harris arrived at her home with a folder in his hand. Mrs. Bennett, Adam. We confirmed the identity of the person Emily was communicating with. Adam tensed immediately. Who is it? Harris laid a photo on the table, a man neither of them recognized. His name is Mark Doyle. He has a long history of fraud cases, mostly involving family infiltration schemes. Adam's voice cracked. Family infiltration. Harris nodded. People like Mark train partners to enter families, gain trust, then gather financial information. Carol whispered. So Emily wasn't acting alone. Detective Harris opened the folder and revealed printed messages. Emily and Mark communicated for months. He coached her on how to gather your birth date, address, and social security number without raising suspicion. Adam shook his head slowly. She used everything we told her against us. Harris continued. Mark also coached her on how to manipulate family relationships, inviting you across states, excluding you, then creating emotional distance to isolate Adam. Carol felt her heart sink. She used motherhood as a weapon. Harris nodded. Exactly. And she nearly got away with it. But your fraud report stopped her before the bigger plan unfolded. Adam stared at the messages in disbelief. She planned all this while pregnant. Harris nodded. Some criminals see opportunities everywhere. Emily saw the birth as a perfect distraction. Carol asked quietly. Detective, what was the bigger plan? Harris paused. Emily was preparing to disappear after the birth. Mark planned to meet her in another state. They intended to leave with Noah. Adam's face drained of color. They were going to take my son. Yes, Harris said. You never would have seen him again. Carol wrapped her arm around Adam as he trembled. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Detective Harris continued. Emily had looked into life insurance policies under your name, Adam. She planned to apply using your information. If something happened to you, Mark would collect the payout. Adam stumbled back, gripping the table. She was planning to hurt me. Carol's voice broke. No, Adam, Harris answered gently. We can't say for sure. But the evidence suggests they considered removing obstacles. Adam rubbed his face, horrified. I lived with her. I trusted her. I loved her. Carol cupped his cheek. You were good to her. That's not a weakness. Tears spilled from Adam's eyes. Mom, what did I ever do to deserve this? Emily's trial moved quickly. The overwhelming evidence, fake forms, forged signatures, messages with mark, financial patterns, and surveillance footage, painted a clear picture. Carol and Adam sat together in the courtroom as Emily entered in handcuffs, looking small but still cold and defiant. When the prosecutor read the charges, Emily's eyes drifted toward Carol, full of bitterness. Adam squeezed his mother's arm as the prosecutor said, the defendant endangered her own family, exploited trust, and attempted to orchestrate a disappearance involving a newborn. Emily rolled her eyes, muttering, You all deserved it. The courtroom went silent. Adam whispered, She never loved us, Mom. During the trial, Emily finally testified. Her voice was cold and sharp. I never wanted a small life, she said. Adam was easy. His family was easy. Everything came too easily. The prosecutor stepped closer. So you pretended to build a family just to tear it apart? Emily shrugged. People are tools. Some people use hammers. I use trust. Carol felt Adam flinch beside her. The prosecutor continued. What about your son? You planned to take him. Emily smirked. A child is leverage. People pay more when emotions are involved. Adam covered his mouth, choking on disbelief. Carol felt tears sting her eyes. The courtroom gasped at Emily's confession. Even the judge looked shaken. When questioned about Carol, Emily leaned closer to the microphone and said, She was perfect, lonely, eager, desperate to be needed. Carol's heart tightened, but she lifted her chin. The prosecutor asked, Why pretend to welcome her? Why invite her across states? Emily smiled coldly. Drama increases sympathy. Sympathetic victims pay faster. Adam whispered, She really never cared. The judge interrupted sharply. Miss Thomas, your complete lack of remorse will be considered during sentencing. Emily shrugged again, as if the outcome meant nothing. Her coldness chilled the entire courtroom. When the jury returned, the courtroom fell silent. The foreman stood. On all charges, identity theft, fraud, conspiracy, attempted custodial interference, we find the defendant guilty. Adam exhaled shakily. Carol reached for his hand. The judge cleared her throat. Given the severity of the crimes and the defendant's disturbing lack of remorse, I sentence Emily Thomas to 25 years in federal prison. Emily glared at Carol one last time. This isn't over. Carol stared back calmly. Yes, it is. Officers took Emily away, still muttering threats. Adam held Noah protectively, whispering, You will never know her cruelty, son. Never. Outside the courthouse, Adam broke down. He held Noah close, his shoulders shaking. Mom, I thought I'd spend my whole life with her. I thought we were a family. Carol wrapped her arms around him gently. Sweetheart, you didn't fail. You trusted a woman who knew exactly how to hide her darkness. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Adam nodded slowly, tears falling onto Noah's tiny blanket. I don't know how to start over. Carol touched his cheek. One step at a time. You have Noah. You have me. You have a future that's honest and safe. That evening, Carol returned home with Adam and baby Noah. The house felt different now. Warmer, safer, stronger. As Noah slept in her arms, Carol whispered, You're safe now, little one. I promise. Adam sat beside her, exhausted but finally at peace. Mom, he said quietly, you saved us. She looked at him with soft eyes. I didn't save you, sweetheart. I just refused to let a lie become our family's truth. Adam leaned his head on her shoulder. And as the sun set outside, Carol realized something profound. She hadn't lost a daughter-in-law. She had regained her son and protected her grandson's entire future.